Man was made in the image of God and given dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth. But if that's true, then it's all the more reason why we have the moral right to eat animals. Hamburgers don't just taste good, they are also ethically good. Today for our Daily Cancellation, we have an article in the Financial Times from a vegan writer by the name of Henry Mance. Henry is trying to deal with a question that for him is quite woeful and tragic. For the rest of us, it's cause for celebration, or at least maybe laughter. The headline, Why the Vegans Lost. And as you can see, the headline is accompanied by a little cartoon of a balding man on a park bench cuddling with a bottle of milk while a carton of oat milk looks on, sad and dejected, because apparently this anthropomorphized carton of oat milk wants to have its insides poured out and consumed by the bald guy, which is, raises all kinds of strange psychological questions that we're not going to get into. But the question of concern is the one in the title. Why did veganism lose? Even the vegans are now willing to admit that they lost the battle. Veganism failed. Nobody wants to be vegan. Nobody likes vegans. Why is that? Henry Mance of the Financial Times shares his theory of the case. And if you were expecting even an ounce of self-awareness or serious self-reflection here, well, then you apparently don't know vegans. Reading on, a few weeks ago, I sat next to a former England footballer at lunch. She had suffered a serious ankle injury in her early 30s. After researching how to recover, she decided to turn vegan. Medical staff were skeptical until her statistics proved better than ever. Today, her only regret is not changing diet sooner. Such stories have become rarer. Veganism was once the biggest food trend. Now the zeitgeist is elsewhere. Google searches for the word vegan rose steadily after 2010, peaked in early 2020, and have dropped since. Sales of Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods, which make arguably the best vegan burgers, are falling too. 11 Madison Park, the high-end New York restaurant, which went plant-based after COVID-19, is reintroducing meat to its menu. One high-profile vegan crypto entrepreneur, Sam Bankman-Fried, is in jail. Another, New York Mayor Eric Adams, turned out to like eating at fish restaurants. What went wrong? Actually, this understates the problem for veganism. Sales for plant-based alternatives aren't just falling. In fact, reports suggested that the company Beyond Meat is going bankrupt. Now, they've since denied those reports, but the fact remains that things are going very poorly in the world of disgusting plant mush shaped to look like delicious meat products. Why are they going poorly, though? The question was just posed, what went wrong? Well, the writer spends precisely one sentence on the fact that vegan food products perform poorly in blind taste tests. Then he moves on from that and starts complaining about fickle food trends and the fact that, quote, governments never intervened to help plant-based diets. Well, that really gives the game away, doesn't it? Vegans knew that they could never entice us to drink liquefied nut juice when real milk is readily available. They knew that we would never be tempted to eat pink plant slime instead of actual ground beef, so they hoped that governments would intervene and just jam their vegan sludge down our throats at gunpoint, which tells you everything you need to know. And the thing is, even if that had happened, it still wouldn't have worked. Most of us would rather die than eat a tofu chicken breast. Consuming a vegan meal is a fate worse than death for most of us. So even if the governments of the world had, as the vegans hoped, rounded us up and put us into vegan concentration camps and served us a diet of cashew milk and vegan sausages, it still would not have been enough to convince any of us to actually eat it. We would all rather starve than put that poison into our mouths. But why are we so opposed to vegan food? Well, Henry Mance of the Financial Times finally settles on the real answer. Quote, even with all the above, the retreat of veganism wouldn't have been possible without another ingredient, the decline in idealism. Not long ago, liberals in particular were prepared to make sacrifices in the hope of a better society. Faced with overwhelming bleakness, COVID, Ukraine, high energy costs, Donald Trump's reelection, Gaza, they've lost faith. They understandably wonder if small changes matter. They want to escape to the things that bring instant joy, meat, cheese, long-haul holidays. Veganism wasn't meant to be like other food fads. It was intended to benefit not just the individual, but society as a whole. Eating less meat would reduce greenhouse gas emissions and animal suffering. The evidence is clear, but right now we can't be bothered. But concerns about climate and animal welfare are the bedrock of veganism, the reasons that will keep people feeling good about eating less meat and that can get governments involved. In Germany, where support for climate action remains strong, sales of plant-based food have kept growing. Elsewhere, vegans will regain the momentum if the public regains a sense of possibility. September being National Preparedness Month got me thinking, when I'm out on the trails with my family, I'm always prepared, extra water, checking the weather, the whole deal. That mindset should carry over to home preparedness too. If a storm knocked out power for a week tomorrow, how ready would most families really be? The reality is, a lot of people have maybe 3 days of food that doesn't need refrigeration. That's not the kind of margin any of us want when it comes to our families. That's why My Patriot Supply is making it easy for you to be prepared with their Preparedness Month Mega Kit. They're basically giving away over $1,500 worth of emergency supplies, a full year of emergency food, water filtration system, solar backup generator, and more. Being prepared isn't just smart, it's what we owe our families. And when someone's making it this easy to get started, it feels like it's the right time to finally get serious about all this stuff. So if you go to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh, you can get 90 preparedness essentials totaling over $1,500 absolutely free. Head to mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh for full details. That's mypatriotsupply.com/Walsh. So that's it. We're not idealistic enough. And we're depressed about Ukraine. We all look at that, at the fake vegan hamburger, and we say, I would eat it, but I'm just so depressed about Ukraine. If not for the fate of Ukraine, I'd have this vegan. That's true. When I go to a restaurant, I say that all the time. I'm looking at the menu, and I always say to the waitress, you got this Impossible Meat burger here. This vegan. I would eat it. I would eat it, but this thing with Ukraine, it's so depressing. I can't. I need the comfort of real beef to make me feel better about Ukraine. And then also we've lost our sense of possibility. And in a way that's true. We do not believe that it's possible for a vegan alternative to ever taste like anything but steaming hot garbage. And with every new vegan alternative on the market, our lack of faith is further justified because in reality, there are two key reasons why the vegans lost. And it's got nothing to do with anything that was in the article. And the first and biggest reason is simply this. Your food tastes like crap. Your food doesn't even taste like food. It tastes like you're eating random household objects. Vegan cheese is like eating a candle. Tofu is like you ordered something fragile on Amazon and then ate the styrofoam packaging that it came in. Vegan bacon is like if you then ate the cardboard box. Vegan beef tastes like soggy rubber that someone, heated up in a microwave. Vegan chicken tastes like a piece of yoga mat folded up with sawdust inside. It's rancid, nauseating, offensive. Vegan food is so bad that it's upsetting on an emotional level. The last time I tried a vegan product, I got so sad that I almost cried. I didn't, but I almost did. And that would have been an approved reason for a man to cry. That's how bad vegan food is. And that's the main reason that veganism failed. It's a dietary fad, but the diet is so repugnant that its adherents need the government to intervene on their behalf. Okay? That's the problem. The other problem is philosophical. And the philosophical problem is that veganism is morally incoherent. I won't even get into the fact that if you think meat is murder, it makes no sense to sell food that's supposed to look and taste like murder. Like if I wanted to make the point that cannibalism is bad, I wouldn't sell food that's made to look and taste like human flesh. Cannibalism is bad, so try our new human thighs. You'll never believe that you're not consuming an actual human limb. It seems like a bizarre sales pitch if you morally object to the thing that the food is imitating. But more importantly, veganism hinges on the idea that human beings are not superior to animals. They say that we are animals ourselves, no better than any other animals in the animal kingdom, but animals in the animal kingdom eat each other. That's what animals do. The majority of animals on the planet are carnivores. About 30% are herbivores, and those are mostly animals that can survive by eating grass, leaves, vegetables. We cannot survive on that kind of diet. I mean, if you just eat grass, you'll die. If you just eat leaves, you'll die. If you just eat vegetables, you will die. Biologically, human beings are omnivores. So animals that need to eat meat, as we do, eat meat. Like in the animal kingdom, if an animal needs to eat meat, they'll just eat meat. They have no compunction about it. They don't debate the ethics. They kill and they eat. Many animals even start eating their meal before it's all the way dead. This is the way of life. It's how nature works. And if we are but animals ourselves, shouldn't we be a part of this natural process? Isn't that the most organic thing we can do? Is to just be a part of the cycle of life? If we're not superior to animals, how can we be held to a higher moral standard? It makes no sense. Veganism claims that we're superior and not superior at the very same time. We shouldn't eat animals because we are animals just like any other animals, but also we shouldn't eat animals because we are not animals just like any other animal. Which is it? Well, vegans ultimately answer the question the same way that the rest of us do. I mean, that's really what they believe, even if they don't want to say it out loud. They believe that human beings are superior. That's the only way to justify holding us to some kind of elevated and highly unnatural moral code. They expect us to act in a way that is distinct from every other species on the planet because they believe that we are distinct from every other species on the planet. Ultimately, as is so often the case, they went in a big circle and they ended back at a basic biblical truth. Man was made in the image of God and given dominion over the fish of the sea and the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth. But if that's true, then it's all the more reason why we have the moral right to eat animals. Hamburgers don't just taste good, they are also ethically good. And maybe that's why vegan food tastes so horrible. They want it to taste like beef or chicken, but instead it just tastes like moral confusion. And ultimately, that is why vegans are, by their own admission now, today, canceled. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.